Working all the time. Work is such a bind. Got some money to spend.
Spend it.
Living for the weekend.
Hard fi.
When it gets too much, I live for the rush. Got some money to spend.
Living for the weekend.
Living for the weekend. Welcome to the sound of the start of it. The NTT20 betting show sponsored by Sky Bet. It's me, Ali, and him, George, making betting picks ahead of a full slate, the fullest of slates of EFL action. And it's for over 18s only because betting comes with significant risks. And if you're thinking of placing a bet this weekend or any time, please do be gamble aware. Understand the risks that come with gambling. What would we generally say? Never bet more than you can afford to lose. Never chase your losses. Be disciplined with your staking plan, as we are on this show. Last week went okay. I am on poor form with my naps, and MK did not beat Tranmere, but lovely Laurent Talai did score at 3-1, a point on him, and Cameron McGeehan didn't play. So got that point back. Annoyingly, Ethan Wheatley, who I raised on the show as being the one that I was having to decide with McGeehan, did score for Northampton. That was a shame. George had a good week. Up thanks to a Bristol City nap winner that was cosy as anything. And of course, Joe Gelhardt scored at 4-1. You had half a point on, 1.8 points up for the week. And I was exactly flat. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing lost. George, what's your nap this weekend? What's your best bet?
So I'm going to League 2 for my best bet. And I wonder, and I have this is purely just a guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not my pick. I mean, all picks are guesses, I guess. I said the word guess a lot there.
More than I would like on a betting show.
Barnet are 1-4 to beat Harrogate down.
Yeah.
That has to be one of the, if not the shortest price, a team in League 2, as we know, the most unpredictable league in the world, has ever been. As short as 2-9 in places.
Wow.
4 on the Sky Bet. So, and that is, I think, especially confusing because I reckon there'll be people listening to this who aren't aware of how good the market has Barnet as being.
Mm.
If you take Barnet purely on closing lines, so basically where teams are going off price-wise and therefore the probability of them winning games, and how that kind of looks in the context of the rest of the league, Barnet are the best team in League 2, and I'm not even sure it's particularly close. They went off even money away at Gillingham last time out, a game that they probably should have won, undone by a brilliant free kick from Bradley Dack, having gone ahead in it. They're not converting their good performances into wins. But again, if you look at not the top table, over at NTT20.com, last 5 games, XG ratio, Barnet are top 72%, second and last in the 10-game table, and third in the League 2 total for the season. So improving week by week, and at the moment posting, frankly, absurdly dominant numbers, averaging 1.57 XG per game and 0.61 XG per game against. Yes, it's not translating into wins right now, but as we normally know with this, it normally comes. And I still think, but if you look at the outright market, Barnet has set a single figure price to win the league, despite them not being very close to the top of the table right now.
Wow.
And that is because if the market is correct, they will probably go on a run pretty soon if their performances stay the same of just winning loads of games. Yeah. And being 4-on at home to Harrogate is probably quite a good chance to do that. I'm not, but just I should say here that 4-on isn't my nap. We're going to get.
You haven't told us what the nap is yet. Is it Harrogate?
We'll get there. Harrogate, on the other hand, going through a really poor run of form and sliding down towards the bottom 2, and it's looking quite difficult. Now, I'm afraid for Harrogate fans, I've got nothing positive to say here because by that same 5-game XG ratio table, Harrogate are bottom with a 22% expected goals ratio. If you're looking at the last 10 games, they are second bottom with a 29.8 XG ratio. Over the whole season so far, second bottom. So again, the trend is getting worse, 34.8. So it's getting worse. Their last 5 games have seen them create 0.58 expected goals for and 2.06 expected goals against. Now, and this, in their case, has been played out in the results, which have been really, really poor recently. And they're struggling to pick up points, as you'd expect. So what you've got here, then, is a game between the worst team in the league on numbers and pretty much on results against the best team in the league on numbers who aren't necessarily getting their results yet. But most strikingly for me, it is the fact that you've got a team in Barnet who have the best defensive record in terms of chances created against them in recent times, against a Harrogate team who have comfortably the worst or the poorest attack at creating chances. And that leads me to my bet, which is Barnet to win 0. at even money.
Winter nil winter.
I was going to say it's chilly,
So
but
late
actually
this year.
it's unbelievably warm outside today.
Mild.
I've dressed badly for today on the tube in. I was boiling. So for Barnet to be 4 on here, for their dominance to presumably show itself here in having such a good side at stopping the opposition from creating chances against the most toothless attack, and for that to be, being factored in as like slightly odds on for them to win this game to 0, when in my mind I think you can make a case for this. It's a bit like those games last season where we were like, it just has to be a much bigger price than that for them for Harrogate to score. We saw games last season where we put up win to nils, where I think we had one that was a win to 0 shots, where the opposition didn't even have a shot against Leeds, I think it was. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this is similar to that, where Harrogate struggle to even get near Barnet's goal. They might score. Of course they might score. Like, I'm not saying this is like a 10-on shot. Like, it's probably, it's even money. I think it should be heavily odds on. But I think it has to be an angle to get with Barnet here. And this, in my mind, is probably going to be the game and the performance and the result that really kickstarts Barnet's season. And they're, as I say, a single figure price to win the league now. Looking at the outright market with Bet365, they are 9-1 to win the league. I think that 9-1 is going to be a lot shorter in the coming weeks.
I wonder if that's a record as well. I wonder if there's ever been a team on the 27th of November that's 14th single figure price to win a league title. Yeah. Incredible, really. Excited about that. Great to have winter nil winter back. My nap is Preston North End to win at Hillsborough, beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-4 the price, 2.25 the decimal with Sky Bet. I don't think that can be ignored. It's a Wednesday side who are really struggling. They've lost their last 3 games. They've only won 1 game in 17 this season. They've lost 11 of them, including 7 of their last 9 league games. The end of the Dejphon Chanziri era was massive for the club, but it came at a point where the damage that he's done is not able to be overcome, certainly in terms of the squad that's available for Henrik Pedersen, but so much other sort of chaos left behind the scenes, wreckage to sift through, that it hasn't had an impact on results or on performances, even if it was and is a positive thing for the club, and still lots of work to do to kind of get out of that mess. The Wednesday team basically has a group of outfield players, almost all of them defenders and midfielders, who have to play every single minute because there literally are no other options to play. These guys are being absolutely flogged and having to put in such a shift at the moment. And I think the third game of a 3-game week, a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday schedule, means that Max Lowe, Barry Bannon, Jan Valery, Svante Ingelsson, Dom Iorfa, Liam Palmer, Harry Amas, who are having to play every single minute at the moment, just must be exhausted, and that's not good to have a third game in the space of 8 days. Horvath in goal has been pretty poor, you have to say, since he's come in, and it's not been great in terms of shot stopping, and they do face a lot of shots. And then at the top of the pitch, they have an issue in terms of chance creation. In 5 of their last 7 games, they've created 0.8 XG or less, and an issue with execution. Whoever's playing up front, whether it's McNeil, who missed a big chance at Millwall at 0-0 on Wednesday night, Kadamatri came in, whether it's Lowe or Ugbo, more senior players, they're all struggling in front of goal. They've got a huge weakness from set pieces. I don't think Millwall were that impressive to beat them on Wednesday night, but the goal, when it came, it wasn't a surprise. It was basically just a huge punt up in the air and in the end a header from Aziz, because that looked like Millwall's best chance of scoring, and Sheffield Wednesday have conceded so many goals from set pieces. So I think an extra day rest for Preston is also a big positive in a week like this, and I think Millwall away probably took quite a lot out of Wednesday. It's a North End side that at their best do play with quite a lot of intensity, physicality, pressing, and I don't think that's great news for Sheffield Wednesday. They've got a few injuries themselves, Preston, but they still have way more options than Wednesday. They've got Whiteman back from suspension, and on the bench in midweek they had Thierry Small, who could come in and start here. Frokja Jensen could come in and start here. Michael Smith up top, former Wednesday player, probably be a good selection decision from Heckingbottom to start him and just go really aerial threat from the start and try and put a lot of pressure on this Wednesday back line. Preston's away record isn't great, 2 wins from 8, but they've only conceded 8 goals in 8 away games, so they generally keep things pretty tight, and I would back them to score at Hillsborough for sure here. Their underlying numbers pretty good away from home. So at 5-4, I can't ignore that. It's my best bet of the weekend, Preston to win at Sheffield Wednesday. Next best.
League One for me, and I am backing Burton Albion to beat Leyton Orient at 7-4. I cannot work out why Leyton Orient are favourites to win this game. I know that they are playing better. We've seen some good signs from them at home recently. They beat Exeter 2-1. They feel like they should have beaten Blackpool last time out. But their away record this season is like absolutely horrendous. They rank 22nd out of 24 for away points gained, despite having played a game more than most of those around them. They've conceded 20 goals from their 8 away games so far this season, losing 6 of them. That to me is, often there's a lot of noise that goes into home and away performances, and over the course of the season they will kind of correct themselves. But I think with Orient, they're one of these teams that, for whatever reason, and we see this every season with certain teams, just have a completely different playing identity away from home and at home. Up against the Burton side, who have been really good recently, whose performances have been really strong, albeit most of those have come on the road, their best performances. But we last saw them at home beating Blackpool 1-0, and we saw them beat Bolton 3-0 at the beginning of October. Like, they're a side that, the underlying numbers were never bad, but now we're seeing them pick up really good results.
Top of the 8-game form table in League One.
There you go.
Burton Albion at 17 points. Nobody can match that.
And since losing 4-0 at home to Argyle, they haven't lost a league game. And they lost 1 league game at home to Peterborough. They're just a good side right now who are projecting decent numbers. Both teams kind of over the course of the last 5-10 games posting kind of mid-table numbers. Yeah, I understand why. So Orient are obviously rated as a better team than Burton Albion, but just given Leyton Orient's away record and the absolute, the performances they put in away from home and their inability to prevent chances, up against the Burton side, who we know do create good chances, and Jake Beasley being the main benefactor of that. I would definitely have Burton being pretty strong favourites for this, and that disagrees with the market. So at 7-4, Burton are my next best.
That's the first of 3 mentions that match is going to get.
Ooh.
Starting now, goal scorer corner, 1 point, 11-4 the price. Jake Beasley anytime the bet. He scored in his last 2 games, to the surprise of absolutely nobody that listens to this show, because we backed him in one of those occasions. Talked about his shot maps, talked about his shot locations. Just a constant goal threat, even if this season the finishing has been up and down. It was a shame in a way that their game last weekend was called off against Exeter, because it's a great chance for a striker who's full of confidence to go 3 from 3. Instead, he had the weekend off and hopefully be nice and fresh here to go 3 from 3 at home to Orient. I just think like a guy playing for a team like Burton, who are in very good form, at home against a team in Orient who, as you mentioned, have conceded 20 goals in their 8 away games, who's posted such good numbers consistently all season, whether the shots go in or not. I think 11-4 just has to be a good price, and that's why we're backing in with a point. I mean, like, why is Tyrese Shade a shorter price to score any time than Jake Beasley? Shade is a goal threat, and they are forming a good partnership. I don't really think there's anything to suggest that Shade should be a shade shorter than the next Beasley. Ethan Wheatley, half a point at 9-2 to score for Northampton at Argyle. There's a couple of things at play here. I'm slightly worried that I was a bit rattled last week that I literally went through Wheatley versus McGeehan comparison, basically thinking they're both value. Went with McGeehan, who then was injured, which hadn't been reported. Wheatley then scores a great goal at 4-1, I think. So to see him at a chunkier price, 9-2, understanding that Cobblers are away here, but playing against an Argyle defence who are, well, they've been so poor so much of this season, keep so few clean sheets. And I think Wheatley, with his size and his speed, which he showed in scoring last week, exactly the sort of striker that Argyle defence might struggle with here. So Wheatley, hopefully, full of confidence as well. Another player who's, just coming on so much week to week, the young striker. Half a point on him to score at 9-2 for Cobblers. Northampton, that is, at Plymouth Argyle. And then the same price for Joe Gelhardt to score for Hull City. 9-2, half a point on. Half a pint.
Full pint. The study a weekend.
Full pint, half a point. I was convinced you were going to be picking Gelhardt as well. He scored for you at 4-1 last week. Has scored pretty consistently.
I was just spooked that watching that game, like QPR just all over Hull, and he scored their first attack. And then we obviously saw them get beat by Ipswich. We've been talking all season about how it's unsustainable. I've got a sneaky feeling we're about to see Hull's spiral.
Yeah, I concur, to be clear with you. I don't necessarily think that means Gelhardt can't still be valued at 92,
right.
because he's just consistently showing what a goal threat he is. And yeah, Stoke are pretty good defensively for sure, and they've got big Victor Johansson in goal. But I can boil it down to one number really, and that is that Gelhardt's 1.55 shots on target per game this season is the top number in the Championship. Just a constant threat, and it's not just taking shots and hitting the target with them, but unlike Beasley, unlike Wheatley maybe, who are guys who, they're strikers who, like, would you trust them to finish a chance to save your life? No, probably not. With Gelhardt, like, consistently good ball striker, great left foot, scores similar goals consistently because he knows the shot locations where he can get the most out of his absolute cannon of a left peg. So 0.5 point on. Now, those of you who are really smart and really concentrate know that's only 2 points. Goal scorer corner, 2.5 points of my staking plan, because it's a 0.5 point Trixie to finish it off with those three. That is Jake Beasley 11-4, Ethan Wheatley 9-2, Gelhardt 9-2. It just had a Trixie feel to me as I put it together. It smells like a Trixie. At the prices, the doubles range from 20-1 to 30-1, and the treble is at 112-1. Excited about Beasley, Wheatley, Gelhardt, singles, and a Trixie as well for goal scorer corner.
Yeah, I've got two goal scorers. Jay Stansfield's 9-4 to score any time for Birmingham, which I just can't understand at all. They've scored 12 goals in their last 3 home games up against the Watford side, who we know are very good going forward, but aren't necessarily the kind of side who'll shut up shop and prevent the opposition from attacking. We know that Stansfield will be on penalties. Dutch has obviously come to the fore with a couple or 3 goals in his last 2 games, but Stansfield also scored 2 goals in Birmingham's last home game. I just can't really work out. I haven't seen this be the case this season where he's been kind of pushed out, but when I think Dutch is 7-4 to score any time and Stansfield's 9-4, was in my mind Stansfield has to be the main goal threat. And then if it's not Joel Gelhardt, it's Million Manhurst.
Yes,
he's 3-1 to score any time in that Stoke Hull game. If it's, there are similarities between these two where they're both continually overpriced. But for my mind, Stoke are the team that are 4-6, and Hull are the team that are 4-1. You're getting 3-1 versus 4-1. Manhurst scored
9-2. Thank you very much. 9-2.
Sorry, 9-2.
Yep.
Manhurst scored in the midweek win over Charlton. He should have scored the weekend. Well, over the weekend with that good save from Begovic. He's just a massive goal threat for them, and someone who I think will continue to score and is continually overlooked. So, how am I going to stake this? Because I do kind of want the double. But point, I don't know. I did split into 3. I'm going to do 0.3333. Yeah, maybe. 0.4 points, 0.4 points on each, and then a 0.2 double.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. So if it's £10 a point, that's £4 on the singles and £2 on the double.
Is mathematics.
That's staking. Well done.
You know I'm a fractional guy.
Eggman. Accumulator. 5-folds. And...
If I just always think it's funny, whoever's listening to this for the first time ever, just hearing you say the word Eggman, 5-man accumulator. Well, I mean, they go backwards and they like, did he just randomly say Eggman?
Mate, I don't even know why it's called the Eggman.
No.
But maybe we should change the name. It might shake out a winner for me.
So the Eggman is a 5-fold accumulator.
Yes.
Rather than Ali having a dare from his mates, he has to say the word Eggman in the pod.
I have done that before when we were on TV, and I snuck.
Don't admit to that and never get booked again.
Snuck a word in to placate my friends. Everything I do for my friends, actually, when I think about it. Yeah, we haven't won an Eggman yet this season, and I've been reflecting a lot on that because it's annoying. You want to get one up. We know that if we do get one up, we're going to be in pretty good shape for the season because of the prices of your 5-fold ACCAs. This one's at 38.27, the decimal with Sky Bets. 0.5 point is my staking on the Eggman. It's got Preston in it, who are my nap, as discussed. It's got 3 League One teams. Bradford City at home to Exeter. Bradford on this weird drawing streak where they've slowed down a little bit. I think it's clear that they've lost a little bit of that early season confidence and panache going forward, but I don't see them having fallen off a cliff necessarily. They're up against an Exeter side who, away from home, I think are incredibly poor. 6 defeats in their 8 games this season, 2 1-0 wins that were both pure smashy and grabby. I think Bradford should do the business at a short price. Lincoln, they are 19-20 at home to Port Vale. Me and Port Vale, well, we've consciously uncoupled, I think it's fair to say. They haven't scored in 5 games. The confidence issues have massively bled into performances now, and it's not just about that, but also Lincoln at home consistently posting way better numbers than they've posted previously. Their underlying performance is really, really impressive, and it's sustaining their 4th place at the moment. I think is absolutely merited, and would expect them to be more confident, have a better idea of how to win this game and do so. Then Wickham at Rotherham. It feels a bit skinny at 1.8, but I'm squeezing it into the Eggman, and it's twofold really. For Rotherham, longest unbeaten run in the EFL, 8 games currently, but it can't go on like this.
No,
can it?
No.
It can.
Oh.
Legally, you have to say that.
All right, Mick.
They're a strange team, Rotherham. They scored a goal last weekend. It's like a nice goal. It's a nice move down the right-hand side. It's finished off by Benson. You think that's a slick attacking team, but it's just not reflected in the numbers at all. They've had 3 shots on target or less in 6 of their last 7 league games. They're not a constant threat. And in defence, I mean, they're not exactly Saki's AC Milan against a Wickham side, who I think just have to be considered one of the best teams in the league right now, and in Bell and Onyedinma have real wide threats, and I think Wickham at 1.8 go in there. And then the longest of the 5 is Gills at Shrews. I've watched the last 2 Gills games against Crawley and against Barnet. They've drawn both of those, and they've had some Bradley Daiquiri to thank for it. I still think this is a good matchup for them. A Shrews side who have won 3 in a row at home to 0, but not in a manner that makes me think they're suddenly, Ecuador playing in Quito levels of home advantage and home dominance. I think it's just a good matchup for Gills. A better matchup, frankly, than Crawley and Barnet, who, in differing ways, sort of played them off the park at times. This isn't going to be a game where the ball's going to be on the deck very much. And I think good matchup for Gills in terms of style. I just think they've got more quality than Shrews, ultimately. They have got Dak and McCleary and others, an array of attacking players. And I would expect, I think 2-1's value, so it goes in the Eggman. The 5-fold, therefore, Preston, Bradford, Lincoln, Wickham, and Gillingham at 38.27. Swerving anything this week?
Mate, I'm swerving every day of my life.
Yeah.
This time I'm swerving the Hatters of Stockport.
Ah, those ones. Not of Luton.
I'm getting on board a Tyke.
Oh, wow. Careful.
Stockport are odds on to beat Barnsley on Saturday at 19-20, and I think we've got to take that on. Just no slight on Stockport, but we've seen their form dip with the absence, certainly, of Ollie Norwood being a key one. Also Ben Osborne, also out, and a couple of other key players too. Norwood's probably the most pivotal player for any team in League One.
They were terrible against
You were
Peterborough.
there. You were
wow.
there. They huffed and they puffed and they couldn't blow them down. And then it didn't frank that form particularly well that Peterborough then hosted Stevenage, who've been struggling recently and were well beaten 1-0 and couldn't really get near them. So Barnsley, on the other hand, come here fresh off a 5-0 demolition of Luton in Keeler Dunn, in Yoganathan, in Connell, and crucially in Reyes Cleary. They have got just a lot of really good attacking players who will come into this game having dispatched a Luton side. Of course, haven't been great this season, but in the manner they did so, they will smell blood and they will get to Stockport thinking this is an opportunity to back that up with another performance to show everyone that they should be taken seriously as promotion candidates. So, I'm not having Stockport odds on here. I'm happy to swerve. Well, I'm telling you, if you're doing an ACCA, you won't put them in anyway because it's an early kickoff. But even if you're thinking about doing an early kickoff ACCA, don't put Stockport in it.
Yeah, I don't think early kickoff ACCAs should exist as well. There's some advice from me. The joint bet this week is back to the BTTS sixfold. How many times this season have we been 5 out of 6, 11 teams scoring out of 12? Let's see how we do at 21.25, the decimal with Sky Bet. George, who are your 3?
Stoke Hull, for the reasons mentioned. I think Hull at 8-11 BTTS. And I think that, given the way they approach games, should basically always be a bet. I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but obviously midweek they didn't score, but their BTTS figures for the season are massive because their games are so end-to-end. And given that Manhoof and Gelhardt are both going to score, then that's done. Donny Peterborough now in the McCann derby. Doncaster, huge game for them. They are struggling to pick up the points they need, but from an attacking perspective, their performance has been much better recently. Despite Peterborough struggling to break down a dogged Stevenage side who played 5 at the back for the first time on Tuesday night, Peterborough and Williams, I think, are going to be a different attacking proposition. We saw them put 3 past Stockport and 5, score 5 in his first home game. So that looks a good one to me at 4-6. And then 8-13, Chesterfield Swindon. This needs no real talk up, I don't think. I know 8-13 seems quite short, but Swindon, Holloway, Chesterfield, Cook, these are 2 just relentlessly attacking sides who are quite open at the back. Swindon's game, we saw it was 2-2 against Grimsby in their last game at half-time. Chesterfield's last game was a 3-3 draw against Crewe. Just goals. That one screams at me. So Stoke, Hull, Donny, Peterborough, Chesterfield, Swindon.
I think there is an argument that the longer we do this, the more over time we can start boiling down betting show reasoning to just saying stuff like Holloway, Cook, Chesterfield.
It's a bit like that
Swindon.
game, Who's in the Hat, where the first round you have to say, describe it, and then the second round you can only use one word, and then the third round you have to act it out. And that's only for the YouTube viewers, that one, because that would be a terrible podcast.
Something to think about. Yeah, I'm adding Wrexham Blackburn in the Championship. Now, Wrexham, good form recently, and quite a lot of home clean sheets recently, but they're so good going forward that obviously I would expect them to score here against Blackburn. But what we've said pretty consistently about Blackburn in the last month or two is that away from home they have been sensational, and I'm concerned it's the end of a long week for them. They lost at home on Wednesday night to QPR, but I think Wrexham will give them some space for them to do their very good counter-attacking into. So Wrexham Blackburn goes in there at 1.8. Burton Orient, the third mention for this game. Burton are going to win for George's nap. Ex-Jeasley's going to score, and it's going to be 4-1. I can't, and maybe I'll say this bit quietly, given we really want Burton to win, but they have got the third worst non-penalty XG against over the course of the season, and Leyton Orient got the second worst. So 2 bad defensive teams realistically, and 2 decent attacking teams. BTTS should cop there. And then Luton Bolton's my last one. This is just Luton are going through this sort of style change where they found it pretty difficult to break down Rotherham when they sat deep, and then they found it very difficult to break down Barnsley when they sat deep. And they looked very vulnerable against the counterattacks of Barnsley. I think Bolton are going to come to town, and I don't think Bolton are going to sit deep. I think they proved, certainly in that game against Cardiff and the one against Huddersfield, that they love games where teams want to attack them because they don't have that opportunity very often. And so I just see this as a team in Luton at home who will be expected to play for the win by their home fans, a team in Bolton who are going to be pretty excited about that and more than up for the battle. And I think it could be quite a fun basketball-y game. Loads of good players on both sides individually. Luton Bolton completes the sixfold. So BTTS, yes, in the following 6. Stoke against Derby and Wrexham against Blackburn in the Championship. In League 1, Doncaster against Peterborough, Burton against Leyton Orient, and Luton against Bolton. And in League 2, Holloway and Cook, Chesterfield and Swindon. 21.25 the price, just a little nicer than 20-1 with Sky Bet. That's a bit of fun.
Really fun.
Really, really fun.
Really fun.
Good to have fun with you. Please,
mate.
could you remind me what your selections are?
No.
Mine are Nap, Preston, 5-4 to beat Wednesday in the Championship at Hillsborough. Goalscorer corner has Jake Beasley, 1 point play, 11-4 anytime for Burton against Orient. Ethan Wheatley, half a point play, 9-2 away at Argyle for Northampton. And Joe Gelhardt away at Stoke for Hull at 9-2, half a point. And the Trixie, half a point on a Trixie with the 3 of those. 112-1 the treble. Between 20 and 30-1 the doubles. The Eggman has Preston, Bradford, Lincoln, Wickham and Gillingham.
I'll do mine. Barnet to 0 at even money against Harrogate is my nap. Burton Albion at 7-4 at home to who are they playing again? Leyton Orient is my next best. My goal scorers are Stansfield at 9-4 and Manhoof at 3-1. A 0.4 singles and a 0.2 double. And then Stockport County are my swerve at 19-20 at home to Barnsley.
Thanks for that, Phil. The joint bet, BTTS sixfold, is Stoke and Hull, Wrexham and Blackburn in the Championship, Doncaster Posh, Burton Orient and Luton Bolton in League 1, and Chesterfield Swindon in League 2. Come on! 21.25 the price with Sky Bet. Thank you to Sky Bet for sponsoring this podcast. We'll be back again on Monday to recap it's a pretty short price to be another bonkers weekend of EFL action because it's been a hell of a season so far. Hope you're enjoying it on Mondays and on Thursdays. Thank you for listening. Here's the reverters. Go well.